My name is Eric Schwartzman. I'm a digital marketing consultant and an author, and I'm excited to talk to you today about the impact of the pandemic on digital business. I'm going to talk about the latest digital business trends, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the lessons learned from the pandemic and how you can adapt those lessons to your own business. And at the end of my talk, I'll tell you where you can download these slides if you'd like. The pandemic really accelerated the pace of digital transformation. We're living through a time of unprecedented change from analog to digital business practices. That's not new. That's been happening for the last 20 years. But if you sat the digital revolution out, the pandemic was your wake-up call. While the restrictions imposed by the coronavirus decimated retail and hospitality, startups that virtualize analog experiences, like Zoom for meetings, Peloton for exercise, and Shopify for e-commerce, saw their earnings soar. And Slack, which is basically a private chat network for virtual messaging inside companies, was acquired by Salesforce for $28 billion. And Salesforce, if you're not familiar with them, is a platform for virtualizing sales, marketing, and service operations. And they were founded in '99, so just about 20 years ago. And they're valued today at $227 billion. The pandemic accelerated the shift to the subscription economy as well. In 2020, companies with subscription business models saw their revenues grow 6 times faster than the S&P 500. Now, according to the 2020 Subscription Economy Index report, companies with subscription models consistently demonstrate 3 capabilities that bolster their resilience. First, they have the agility to launch new revenue streams. Second, they have the automation capabilities to adapt to an increasingly digital world. And third, they have the ability to harvest insights from customer data to improve the subscription experience. So in the quest for predictable and recurring revenue in a time of great uncertainty, businesses outside of tech are shifting to subscription business models as well. And these are models that were made popular by basically 3 business models. One is software as a service, another is a platform as a service, and third is infrastructure as a service. And an example of software as a service is Square for restaurants. It's a point-of-sale software as a service platform starting at $60 a month. An example of a platform as a service is a platform called Google Firebase. And it's basically a platform for rapid prototyping of mobile apps. And you can use Firebase to mock up a proof of concept of a mobile app quickly. And they have both free and pay-as-you-go pricing models. An example of infrastructure as a service is Amazon Web Services. And they basically sell IT infrastructure like hosting as a service. So you don't have to buy any servers or maintain any hardware. And it's a solution for basically scaling websites and mobile apps that can handle millions of concurrent users. And AWS also has free and pay-as-you-go pricing models. Over 90% of technology companies are embracing subscription models. So let's take a look at how some companies outside of tech are using subscription models to buoy their sales, particularly during the pandemic. So the first is the U.S. food delivery app market, which grew 12% last year. The top players in the space are Grubhub, DoorDash, Postmates, and Uber Eats, and they all offer subscriptions as a way of lowering your delivery charges, which include, here's what they charge you, a delivery fee. They charge you a separate service charge, and then Uber Eats even tacks on a miscellaneous $3 fee on top of that. Now, at the height of the pandemic, these apps gave small businesses a way to scale to-go orders during the lockdown, but they also disintermediated restaurant owners from their customers. The food delivery apps handle the customer acquisition side of the equation, which really puts them in the driver's seat because they control the customer relationship. Now, in addition to charging customers, restaurants pay too. Grubhub charges restaurants 15% of every order, a credit card processing fee, an order processing fee, and a 10% delivery commission. Restaurants that give up a part of their profits for access to a food delivery app's market are kind of like sharecroppers who gave up part of their crop to a landowner instead of paying rent. Now, affiliate marketers create websites for services they don't perform. They generate leads and sell them to small business owners who lack digital infrastructure. And companies like Angie's List and others in that category disintermediated local small business owners like locksmiths and plumbers from their customers because those companies did not have their own website. Uber, the largest taxi company, owns no vehicles. Facebook, the world's largest media company, owns no content. Airbnb, the world's largest vacation accommodations provider, leases no real estate. And Spotify, the world's largest music company, owns no copyrights. All these companies have one thing in common. They own the digital service you use to get a ride, the news, a place to stay, a song you want to hear. They control the layout of the interface. And whoever controls the layout controls the payout. So the question is, do you want to rent or own the customer relationship? If you're reliant on a food delivery service app to bring you customers, or Uber to bring you riders, or Airbnb to bring you renters, you're a digital sharecropper. But if you can control the customer relationship yourself by owning the interface, you're the landowner. Now, I realize most of you are not by-the-cup retailers. But how Domino's and El Pollo Loco leveraged custom mobile apps during the pandemic is interesting, since they control the interface. So they were able to use competitive features to increase their sales. On Uber, riders and passengers all get the same features, but on a custom app, you can develop features to stand out from the crowd. The lockdown drove food delivery app usage higher, but since they don't want the delivery apps cutting into their profits, Domino's and El Pollo Loco both have their own mobile apps so they can control the customer relationship. If you have your own custom mobile app, you can control the layout and the payout. It's a heavier lift, but if you develop a custom app, the only commission you pay is credit card processing. Domino's developed their mobile app with a visual pizza tracker that shows when orders will arrive. In the 4 weeks after the World Health Organization declared the pandemic, Domino's sales rose 7%, and digital orders were 80% of all sales. And during that same period, nearly 17% of U.S. restaurants went out of business, according to the National Restaurant Association. In September, El Pollo Loco, which has 480 locations, added GPS-enabled curbside pickup as a new feature of their mobile app. They launched the service in 6 weeks to help speed up the drive-through process and compete against Chick-fil-A, the drive-through efficiency leader. Now, you could not offer a GPS option like this through a mobile-friendly website. You also couldn't offer it through someone else's platform. Only native mobile apps installed directly on a device through an app store can make use of native mobile device features like GPS tracking, the camera, and the accelerometer, which is what makes the phone vibrate. These quick service restaurants are taking customer acquisition and loyalty into their own hands. They understand the power that food delivery apps have over them, and they're leveraging their own digital technology to acquire and keep their customers for themselves while improving the customer experience with competitive functionality, like the pizza tracker and GPS-enabled curbside pickup. There are all kinds of direct-to-consumer e-commerce subscription services. You can go online and subscribe to groceries, underwear, razors, toilet paper, and yes, fresh roasted coffee. These roasters are selling coffee directly to consumers via the web without relying on Amazon or Instacart. which is a mobile app for grocery deliveries. Angel's Cup uses an online payment processor called Stripe. Atlasbox uses a service called Shopify, and both are around $10 a month. Shopify is a turnkey e-commerce software as a service solution for small business. And Shopify is one of the companies that grew substantially during the pandemic. In fact, Shopify's subscription revenue grew 48% in Q3 from new merchant signups. Shopify subscriptions start at $29 per month. MistoBox offers a personalized coffee subscription starting at $10.95 a month, and their service is built on Magento Commerce, which is owned by Adobe. And Gartner, the analyst group, called Magento the leading e-commerce provider in their digital commerce report last year. So these are coffee subscription services that are powered by e-commerce subscription software, which is a testament to the popularity of the subscription business model. Just like Domino's and El Pollo Loco cut the food delivery apps out of their business, if you can transact e-commerce without relying on a third party like Amazon or Instacart, selling direct is a way to own rather than rent the customer relationship. Now, to bring customers back, By the Cup retailers had been experimenting with subscription offers pre-pandemic. Burger King and Cumberland Farms both tested and canceled monthly coffee subscription plans. But the pandemic may have changed the calculus, according to a November report by The Counter. In February, Panera launched an $8.99 a month subscription for unlimited coffee. They signed up 800,000 free trials, which led to 500,000 paid subscribers, bringing in $5.5 million in monthly recurring revenue. And a third of those orders included food. HP sells printers at a low price and profits on the ink. Nespresso sells coffee machines at a low price and profits on the pods. Panera sells coffee for $8.99 a month and makes money on the food. In September, Pret-a-Manger launched a monthly coffee pass that includes unlimited drip coffee at $10 a month or unlimited cappuccino at $20 a month. In October, BJ's Restaurant announced a beer club with unlimited draft beer for $15 a month. Now, under a subscription billing model, monthly recurring revenues minus churn rate is your growth. In winner-take-all markets like web search, social networking, and online auctions, it's not uncommon for VCs to back startups that are getting more new subscribers than the ones they lose, even if customer acquisition costs leave them in the red. When they expand into new markets, Uber undercuts the prices of local taxi services to drive their competitors out of business, only to raise their prices once their competitors are gone. In B2B, retainers are the equivalent of subscriptions. IBM sells a cybersecurity subscription so that you're not scrambling in the event of a data breach. Website development firms, digital marketing agencies, PR firms have worked on the retainer model for years. We'll talk about how small and mid-sized B2Bs are automating their businesses in a bit, but first, two more digital business trends. As a result of the pandemic, global supply chains have sputtered. Just-in-time manufacturing took a reputational hit as a result of coronavirus. COVID-19 uncertainties interfered with the dependability of global supply chains. Suppliers couldn't keep up with the sudden demand for raw materials, and consumer packaged goods couldn't replenish their stock fast enough. A Deloitte survey found that 85% of supply chains were disrupted by the pandemic. The inability to secure sucralose from Chinese producers forced the Coca-Cola company to halt production of flavored Diet Coke. Apple and Rio Tinto both downgraded their earnings forecast, citing coronavirus supply chain interruptions. For different reasons, Nespresso made headlines in February due to their reliance on child labor in Guatemala, where they source their beans. Brand ambassador George Clooney issued a statement saying he was saddened by the news. Eric Caldwell of XPO Logistics says companies have learned their lesson and will look for more geographic diversity in their sourcing strategies, which is interesting because in the previous examples with the subscription companies, I was telling you that you need diversity of technology as a strategy so that you don't become a sharecropper. But just-in-time inventory policies were definitely handed down from a more geopolitically stable time. And I think we should expect the unexpected even after we're all inoculated, because black swan events like extreme weather disasters from climate change pose an ongoing threat to stability. In his latest book, How to Prepare for Climate Change, New York Times bestseller David Pogue offers a survival guide with chapters for how to prepare for floods, droughts, hurricanes, tornadoes, wildfires, pestilence, and entire chapters on where to live, where to employ, how to insure, how to invest, how to build, and where to grow. This only reinforces the need for companies to have the agility to launch new revenue streams, have the automation capabilities to adapt to an increasingly digital world, and have the ability to harvest customer data to improve their subscriber experience. The last digital business trend I want to cover is interoperability. So changing times call for digital businesses that aren't dependent on a single platform, right? This is the concept of diversity. That's what we mean when we say you need to be agile, adaptable, and flexible. If you're agile, adaptable, and flexible, you can switch to a new payment processor without having to migrate to a new platform. Survival in the restaurant business during the lockdown meant having a point of sale kitchen display system with the ability to accept orders from mobile delivery apps. Right? These systems are all interconnected with each other. They're interoperable. In this screen, you can see orders from DoorDash, Postmates, and Grubhub flowing directly into Square, their point of sale interface, which also has a kitchen display system so cooks can prepare and back orders as they come in. If you're selling via your own website, being agile means integrating marketing and e-commerce with customer service and fulfillment. The customer can subscribe to the coffee club on your website, and your shipping and receiving clerks can fulfill those orders just as easily. For B2Bs, it means having the digital infrastructure to eliminate anything or everything that interferes with your ability to service customers easily. And more on this to come. The third and final digital business trend, which we saw quicken as a result of the pandemic, is the ability to perform cross-functional collaboration in a digital environment. So if you handle marketing with Adobe software and accounting with QuickBooks software, project management with a calendar app, sales with Outlook, nothing's integrated, so it's harder to serve customers. Agile, adaptable, and flexible also means interoperable. The three digital business trends I saw quicken as a result of the pandemic were the subscription economy, the vulnerability of global supply chains, and the interoperability advantage. What is it that digital business leaders do differently to win in this environment? The truth is, it's the same answer for all of them. It's the same thing behind the companies that won in all these different areas. So let's shift gears now and talk about that. Just as a facade on the backlot of a movie studio is not a building, a website is not a digital business. Right? It's an entryway. It's the presentation layer. It may have curb appeal, but it's not functional. And a static website is a digital facade, nothing more. Right? It's brochureware designed to get someone to pick up the phone and call you. A digital business, on the other hand, is more than a website. A digital business is a stack of integrated solutions like Amazon Web Services, e-commerce for payment processing, content management for blogging and content marketing, a mobile app for selling to customers on the go, and a sales pipeline management app, a CRM, to be able to manage sales. Now, you may have some of these things, but not all. You may be a digital sharecropper, or you may still be on the sidelines wondering how to get into the game. Or you may have an evolved digital business like this, where each one of these lines represents a cross-functional collaborative workflow. Or if you're looking at this, feeling overwhelmed and wondering, how do I get in the game? Let's talk about that. Because digital transformation, like anything else, is a process. You start by documenting your business requirements, mapping out your workflows, soliciting bids from system integrators who can build suit, and developing a platform, a digital end-to-end solution where you can allow your workers to collaborate cross-functionally. If it seems complicated, that's because it is. But here's a simple example of the business requirements for B2Bs that provide consulting or advisory services. And this is the basic workflow. You can use this to map out a process and get clarity before you pivot to digital. Right? So you start by acquiring an internet domain, yourdomain.com. Then you build a website and you host it at your domain. You figure out how to get people to visit your website. You market through search engines, social media, digital PR, online advertising, and email campaigns. Once you get people to your site, you have some sort of path to purchase set up or a way to generate leads so that you can capture customer information. And everything's measurable online. So you can score leads based on activity, which basically eliminates cold calls because now you can see who your most engaged leads are and you can only reach out to them. So you can use technology to identify the warm leads. Instead of contacting the world to see if they have a need for your services, you only contact the most engaged leads. If they don't qualify, you put the contact record back in the database because they may change their mind at a later date. Now, if they do qualify, you send them a proposal. If they pass on the proposal, you put the lead record back in the database and continue to nurture them appropriately. For a B2B consultancy, this is the front of the house where you entertain guests. But if you win the business, what happens then? Well, digital businesses have a back end too. And this is the part of the house where you don't entertain guests. And what's critical is that the front and the back of the house are connected, right? Sales and marketing needs to be connected with ops and accounting. In this example, you convert the lead to a customer, generate an invoice and a service agreement, which can be signed digitally. You automatically convert your proposal into a scope of work document with project timelines and milestones. And you make it easy to send incremental invoices against milestones and track progress. Right? That's what an integrated stack looks like for a consultancy. If you want to know why some companies outperform in digital, just look under the hood. This is a modern revenue engine. The companies that tend to get disintermediated are the ones who fail to appreciate the impact of hidden labor costs. Manually rekeying customer information into your accounting software when you win an account, even though it was already set up as a lead in your sales pipeline, is a hidden labor cost. Manually converting a proposal document into a scope of work document and generating an NDA is a hidden labor cost. Handing off an SOW, scope of work, to an operations person to manually re-enter deliverables as jobs to be done in a project management app is also a hidden labor cost. Right? You get the idea. According to research from Granger's, employees spend more time cutting and pasting information between applications than they do using them. Interoperable technology is to digital business what interchangeable parts were to the Industrial Revolution. The secret to success in digital business is what's under the hood. It's your tech stack, because that's what makes it as easy to market, sell, and service as it is for customers to buy. That's what gives you a way to acquire new customers directly without having to pay a commission to a third party. And that's what gives you the ability to respond and adapt to changing market conditions quickly. This is how you stack value in digital business. And this is what's powering the digital trends we've seen accelerate as a result of the pandemic. End-to-end solutions are a competitive advantage. The leading digital businesses collaborate cross-functionally online, and this is what stands behind all the companies that were able to sustain and even drive growth during the pandemic. In addition to what's under the hood, the other common disruptive element in all these examples isn't just change, but velocity. When change occurs faster than others can adapt, then the speed of that change disrupts markets. In just 12 months, revenue at Blockbuster fell from $3 billion to $2 billion. During that same period, Netflix revenue rose from $2 billion to $3 billion. Blockbuster couldn't turn the ship around quick enough, hit an iceberg, and sank. In the age of disruption, the fast eat the slow. It's all about speed. That's how you out-innovate your competitors. The pandemic accelerated digital transformation. After the Spanish flu pandemic, restaurants never replaced their spittoons. And I expect that after we've achieved herd immunity, many meetings will still take place on Zoom, and more employees will be working remotely. But the general course we've seen business taking with respect to digital is nothing new. Right? 20 years ago, we were the tech guys down the hall. We were like support staff. Now, we run the place. I spent 3 years as GM of the Center for Digital Innovation at a $1 billion B2B industrial manufacturer, where I oversaw the deployment of enterprise software solutions for different lines of business, custom mobile apps, and online marketing. These days, I'm an independent consultant helping companies develop sales and marketing tech stacks, strategies, and campaigns, because today every company's a media company. A lot of companies don't understand media, and I help them get the people, processes, and technology to compete in the digital space. Sales and marketing tech stacks are used to drive growth through search, social, referral, and paid traffic sources. They're used to nurture leads, and they're used to qualify customers online. So sales and marketing tech stacks are how you make a market for yourself online without being reliant on a third party. To help B2Bs implement effective digital pivots, I developed a 4-stage framework for accelerating digital sales and marketing implementations, which starts with 1, owned media, which is your website and mobile app where you control the layout and the payout. You got to start there. Next is social media, or social media activation. After that comes earned media, which is digital PR and influencer outreach. And last is paid media, which is online advertising. Maslow's hierarchy of needs suggests a logical order to self-care. Right? Before you can focus on finding love, you need a safe place to sleep and food to eat. There's also a logical sequence to sales and marketing implementation in a digital environment. And it starts with owned media. That's your primary need. Before you invite people over, you have to have something to sell, and you have to clean the place up first. Then you're ready for shared media or social media. That comes after home base is in order. Third is earned media. That's what other people are saying about you on their websites. And it has the greatest potential to drive growth because it's about securing unbiased, impartial third-party endorsements. And paid media is advertising, and it comes last because unless you can convert traffic and win trust, there's no sense advertising. If you'd like to learn more about this framework, you can download my free guide to the digital pivot. If you haven't already, now's the time to wake up and smell the coffee. All business is digital business. We saw that accelerate during the pandemic. Thanks for joining me for this talk on the top digital business trends we saw during the pandemic, what to do about them, and how to pivot your business to digital. Links to the presentation and all the references that I mentioned in this talk will be available for you to download for the next 24 hours at ericschwartzman.com/NCA. I also have a book that walks you step by step through the process of pivoting a business to digital. It's a non-technical business book for the general interest reader, layman who's interested in understanding from a strategic level how to pivot a business to digital. Thank you.